Silver Plume, Colorado might look like a quiet, peaceful mountain town, but anyone who has lived there long enough knows something is deeply wrong with its silence. For more than a century, people have vanished without leaving a single footprint behind. Hikers, travelers, miners, even entire search teams swallowed by the wilderness, as if the mountains themselves were alive. Locals speak in low voices about the strange cold pockets that appear in the forest even in midsummer, the echo of children laughing from abandoned mine tunnels, and the pale figures seen standing motionless near the old railroad tracks. Most outsiders think these are just ghost stories told to scare tourists, but there is one truth the townspeople never speak openly. These disappearances did not begin in Silver Plume. Their origin lies thousands of miles away, in the frozen nightmares of Siberia during 1918, where soldiers on the Siberian Intervention accidentally woke something buried under the ice, something ancient, hungry, and patient. The horror began when a small relic, taken unknowingly from a Siberian mass grave by a surviving American soldier, eventually made its way to Silver Plume decades later. It was a frost-covered stone etched with symbols no one could decipher, a stone that carried the memory of the bloodshed from the Siberian Intervention butchery of 1918. When the miners brought it deep into the tunnels beneath the town, they didn't know they were carrying a piece of a curse, an echo of the same force that had consumed entire military regiments in the Arctic wilderness. The moment the relic touched the heart of the mountain, the air shifted, temperatures dropped sharply, tools began to disappear, and men heard whispers calling their names from the darkness. Soon after, the first miner vanished without a trace. The second was found frozen solid inside a completely dry tunnel. By the third disappearance, the people of Silver Plume understood that they had awakened something that never should have been disturbed. And now, that thing was no longer trapped beneath Siberia's ice, it was alive beneath their feet, and it was hungry again. Once the relic was brought into the deepest tunnels of Silver Plume, an invisible door seemed to open between the mountains of Colorado and the frozen pit where the Siberian Intervention soldiers had disappeared in 1918. Strange cold winds began to blow through the mineshafts, carrying with them the faint echoes of foreign voices, Russian, Japanese, Czech, American soldiers who had died more than a century ago. Some miners swore they saw figures walking through the tunnels at night, silhouettes with stiff movements and frost-coated skin, as if they had wandered out of a blizzard and stepped directly into the mine. The deeper the townspeople dug into old records, the more horrifying the truth became. A historian discovered that the symbol carved on the relic was the same sigil found etched into the flesh of mutilated soldiers during the Siberian Intervention. Those symbols were believed to bind an ancient entity known as the Children of the Ice, beings formed from the endless hunger of Siberia's coldest winters. These creatures fed on warmth, on breath, on life, and they had followed the relic across continents like a scent trail. The disappearances in Silver Plume escalated quickly. Hikers would be seen entering the forest but never returning. Search teams found abandoned campsites where the fires were still burning, backpacks left open, and footprints that simply stopped in the middle of clear snow. One ranger described finding a hiker's body frozen upright, his face twisted in terror, though the temperature outside was above freezing. Houses near the old mine began to experience unexplained frost creeping across their windows at night, even during early autumn. Families heard soft knocks under their floors, as if someone or something was moving slowly beneath their homes. And then the voices began. People reported hearing whispers inside their bedrooms, calling their names in tones that didn't sound fully human. Some claimed these voices were pleading for help, others said they were commands. Every night, the cold grew stronger, crawling deeper into the town like a living parasite. The sheriff tried sealing the mines, but each time they boarded up the entrances, the boards would crack overnight, splintered from the inside. A team of paranormal researchers entered the tunnels with high-tech equipment, and only a single camera was recovered, covered in frost and playing a looping clip of a pale childlike figure staring into the lens, whispering in Russian, "We remember the blood." The few elders in town who knew the truth finally admitted that the relic had awakened the same entity that slaughtered soldiers during the Siberian Intervention butchery of 1918. That massacre was never just human violence, it was the feeding of an ancient force, imprisoned in Siberia's ice, freed only when enough suffering cracked its prison open. By bringing the relic to Silver Plume, the miners had carried that suffering home. Now the entity was rebuilding itself, taking bodies, collecting souls, and expanding its reach beneath the Rockies. What happened in Siberia was not an isolated tragedy, it was the beginning of a hunger that had found a new hunting ground. Even today, the mountains surrounding Silver Plume carry a silence that feels too heavy, too deliberate, as if the land itself is listening. The disappearances haven't stopped, they've simply become quieter, cleaner, leaving behind no bodies, no traces, no clues. Locals have learned to ignore the cold spots on their floors, the sudden chills running down their spines, and the soft laughter drifting from the forest at night. They know that whatever was awakened in Siberia during the butchery of 1918 has fully rooted itself beneath their town, spreading through abandoned tunnels and forgotten rail lines like veins of living ice. The entity has no need for chaos anymore. It has patience, memory, and a growing collection of souls taken from those who dared wander too close. Those who've tried to escape the town claim the cold follows them, car windows frosting from the inside, strange silhouettes appearing in their rearview mirrors, and whispers urging them to come back home. Some believe Silver Plume is no longer just a place, but a gate-in opening between this world and the frozen nightmare unleashed in Siberia more than a century ago. And as long as the relic remains buried somewhere in those tunnels, feeding the hunger of the children of the ice, the disappearances will only grow. So if you ever find yourself on those quiet mountain roads and feel the temperature drop suddenly, don't stop, don't look around, and don't listen for the voices. Because in Silver Plume, the ice remembers, the mountains watch, and once it chooses you, there is no escaping its frozen embrace.